saw the short film. We did something fun that I bet you none of you guys noticed. Some of it was shot on the R5, and some of it was shot on the Sony A1, which is what this behind the scenes shot is on. So both are using a 24-70 f2.8, ND filters when needed, same settings, 1/50 for the shutter, 8K, 2.8, most of the time we might change that up. ISO is the same, everything. We're trying to make this as similar as possible, and I bet you didn't even notice it. Canon versus Sony. A tale as old as time. No, I sound like I'm trying to make a movie. This is Canon versus Sony. You know, I am a Canon user, as you know. Most video people are Sony users at this point. Every time I show up on site with an R5, yes, I can accomplish the same exact thing, but Sony has kind of taken the cake for video, Canon photo, but it's really whatever works best. Something to keep in mind as I was editing this video and shooting, I'm used to the Canon color science whenever I am editing. So my coloring, straight up, just better on the Canon. Not really used to coloring the A1 and S-Log3. Everybody raves about it, but I don't have much experience with it. Before I start, should we talk about where I'm at? I'm currently in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin right now. I've got an hour or so before my shoot. Figured I'd record it here. Is this the coolest film breakdown you've ever seen? That's enough of that. First shot right here. Clearly from a unique perspective that you've never seen of my apartment and that I've never seen from my apartment. So the story behind this is this shot right here was not the original shot that we had. Me and Pat had a list of about 10 to 12 different shots that we knew we wanted to get. Those could be multiple shots of the same thing. Those could also be, hey, I want to get a shot of me clicking on to select a podcast, me sitting down at my desk. Generalized or a specific composition, could be either. Originally, we had this shot that you see right here. This shot was not that interesting, and especially if it's going to be the opening shot of the entire video, I just wasn't crazy about it. I want the opening shot to the video to be something that stands out and is something that you haven't seen before. You want it to catch your eye and be like, oh, wow, this is a really unique type short film, and I am really interested in the compositions, and the filming is really done well, and the story's kind of funny. It's kind of a joke. This one right here ended up being what we went with because we watched our little rough edit whenever we laid all of our clips out, and we just didn't like how it started. Now, the only way that a shot like this is available is if your cameraman is 6'2", and lucky for me, Pat was with me that day. Pat, he's like 6'2", roughly, and so that's what made this one possible, and unfortunately I didn't film BTS of this, but he was standing on a chair in the corner of my apartment, holding the camera totally over his head. Yes, we could have put it on a tripod, but it was a very last minute thing. We just wanted to get it done with. We wanted to get the shot. So he was holding the camera, this is the Sony by the way, over his head, and we wanted to get the framing with these pipes and that little triangle with me in it. I could not be more happy with this composition, and it's super, super unique. Don't have a tripod that's that high. Don't have any kind of light stand that's that high that I could put the camera on. This is straight effort on our end, and Pat being tall, that worked to our advantage. Also, a very captivating way to start the film, which is exactly what I was going for. So that shot right there, right here, where it goes from the monitor down to the mouse, that one was us trying to create a little bit more movement. Now, the tripod that we use for the most of this is what I'm on right now, the Pro Master. It's actually a photo tripod, but this shot would not be possible with that. I use my newer cinema tripod that I'm not a huge fan of, but it is nice whenever you need those smooth movements for video. A lot of the stuff that I shoot isn't locked off, but the whole style of this video, we wanted it to be locked off shots on a tripod. This is a shot that you'll see recurring throughout the video. We'll touch on it later. So right here, this is something that's personal to me. About a couple weeks ago, I tried the little time limit thing on social media. I found myself spending too much time on TikTok, Instagram, and I constantly later in the day have hit my time limit, and I see it, I open up the app, sometimes I cancel it, sometimes I don't. right here, that's what I wanted to capture here. A day that's getting very monotonous. I'm getting sick of just doing the same thing over and over again, but I already hit my time limit. Cool thing about this shot, unique perspective. I actually use these macro filters that Danny Gevertz posted a video about recently. I ordered them. It was like 25 bucks. They're sick. And this right here is what allowed me to do it, because I wanted it to go from you see time limit and then rack focus to me being focused on the screen. It is a macro shot, and I think it turned out cool. I'll be honest, I probably could have lit it a little bit better so that you can see me a little bit better on the screen, but the shot that I wanted to get actually came across pretty well. Whenever you look at it, you might not think very much of it at first, but you can see me in the reflection of the phone, which is like me looking at myself like, what are you doing? Just get to work already. Another one of those shots, like I said, reoccurring theme throughout the film. This same shot, same composition. This might be my favorite shot from the entire thing. That first shot, this shot, and then one more that we'll see. I love how you can see the reflection in my eye of the phone scrolling through TikTok. That's something that's possible because of these macro filters. I'll link them below, but they are so sick. I can't believe that they're 25 bucks and I can get a macro shot like this instead of buying a whole new $1,500 lens. But this right here is with the 24-70, and let me check what camera this was with. And it was with the Sony. So this right here, super tight on my eye. And it's so cool how some of the eyelashes are in focus and the other one's not. That's the beauty of macro. I never had it possible to me before, and I really wanted to experiment with these little filters throughout the short film. And the fact that you can see that the TikToks in my eye are in focus, that's something that is just so hard to capture, and somehow we pulled it off. Now moving on to maybe the best R5 shot of the day, or of this film. This top down right here was not our original plan, but once again, just like that first shot of the film, we wanted to make things unique. So we wanted a little top down where you can see the keyboard, so I'm clearly sitting at my desk. And I will be totally transparent with you guys. I don't think that I planned that time limit thing being opened on my keyboard. Some things just happened for a reason. That one played very well in my advantage. But this separates you, totally different perspective. Not everything's from eye level, not everything's from just above, not everything's super tight. We got a variety. There's no dialogue in the story, so how can we really portray what we're trying to get across through creative shots and a creative vision? This top down, Pat was actually holding the third leg of the tripod, so we got two on the desk. He was holding it. We got this shot, and then we got that shot. All right, now as we're using these cameras, the one thing that's come to mind that I really like about my Canon is for this shot that we're getting right now. So right here, man, this is sketchy. Right here, we're trying to get a top down of me at my desk. So we're gonna be here, roughly, and Pat's gonna be holding the other leg of the tripod. We can see on my camera with the monitor, the A1 does not have a flip out screen. So 1 point to the R5. Hey, what's up?
Hey. So it's starting later than planned?
Starting at 2:30. I'm filming a YouTube video right now.
Oh, okay.
You're mic'd up right now.
Great. Tag me. Make sure you tag me.
Alright. Yeah. It rudely interrupted. So Canon R5 versus Sony A1. So far, halfway through the video, one big difference has nothing to do with the picture quality. It's literally just the fact that the swivel screen isn't there on the Sony. I know they fixed that. And then when it comes to editing, file sizes on the Sony are definitely smaller than the Canon, which is a plus. But for the most part, the cameras are very similar, and the menu systems are just the most confusing thing of everything. This shot right here was really cool, and this was totally Pat's idea. So you saw the top down of me with my legs crossed. You can go back to that. Right there. So we're like, how can we kind of use that to our advantage for the transition to the next scene? Well, let's shoot through my legs and try and frame my face between my legs. Check out the behind the scenes of this one. This is behind the scenes through my legs. with me talking on the phone. This is how the magic happens right here. I think the shot will look sick though. So far, what are my thoughts? By the way, this is on an iPhone, so don't judge. This is not on either camera. I know this looks like absolute shit, but it's okay. So far, I'm biased. I love the R5. The A1 looks amazing as well. It's just tough because I don't know the menu systems as well. Just like Pat operating the R5 right now, he's a Sony user. He doesn't know the menu systems as well. So you see on the top left here, that's my right leg. Bottom left, I cropped it out a good amount in the edit, but that is my other leg. So this shot is directly through my legs, light coming from roughly where the monitor is, and I mean, you can see the twinkle in my eye. The lighting isn't anything crazy, just lighting my face, dark pants, getting that nice contrast. First reaction to the between the legs shot. Pat cooked this one up. Oh, god damn. Look at it. You'll be able to see in the edit much more. You can see the twinkle in the eye. This is my right leg. This is the left leg. This is so good. Oh, look at that framing. Come on. Once again, these shots right here where you see my computer screen, these are with one of those macro filters. They come in handy. Can't overuse them too much because they do kind of warp everything around it. But it does make it cool how this project name is out of focus and the untitled is in focus. And then as you see me type here, Pat pulled focus along where I was typing. That's how shallow the depth of field is when you're using them and whenever you're wide open at f2.8. The podcast part, this is just super me. I listen to a ton of podcasts, and every time I'm editing, especially whenever there's no dialogue or anything in the video, editing photos, editing, some kind of basic B-roll cut, I have a podcast on in the lower part of my screen where you see in that shot. That was very much me putting my personal touch on it. Just had to do it. It seemed organic to me. It seemed like a no-brainer. Once again, right here, you see the same shot that you've seen earlier in the video. Now getting frustrated, now getting really tired. And where it's cool for me is the next shot after this. Boom. Now I'm sitting on the ground behind my desk, and we wanted to have that shot in a bunch of different areas. I'll share a little secret with you here. This shot got cut. This was me falling off of my desk. Make sure I'm in focus. Shooting on the R5 right now. BTS is on the A1. My brother, my girlfriend, anybody that's hanging out with me while I edit, they will always mess with me and say that I look like an idiot how I'm sitting whenever I start to get tired. I'll sit like with my knees on the chair, with the back of my chair along the desk. And so I was sitting like that, and then I fell. That was a personal touch where, if you know me, it was funny. And ended up getting cut because I just felt like it didn't fit, and it was just kind of like, it didn't actually push the story in any direction, so I had to pull it out. So these shots right here with that macro lens, once again, we'll go through them quick. Little trick. Nobody real time followed me. I wasn't sitting there for like 3 days waiting for a subscriber to happen. Pat unsubscribed, resubscribed, and while he was doing that, I couldn't really figure out how to use the camera. How do I record? How do I record? Can you? No. Oh! I didn't even know how to record on this thing. But it looks good. Check out the shot. Nice macro shot. Peeking's on. I hope you can, peeking's on the screen right now and you can see the individual pixels. I would love it if I could actually see that in the final product. We'll see. Don't know yet. But right here, this might be the final shot of the whole video. You've already seen it. I haven't even started editing it yet. I'm not even done shooting it yet. And then a little stupid laugh to end the video. You got me getting happy as I see it. And then I have my smiley face shirt on. So you go, oh, smiley face. Boom. Canon R5 versus Sony A1. What are the final thoughts as I reflect on this video? Really enjoyed shooting it, like doing these short film type things. They are harder, but let's talk gear. Let's talk cameras. What do I like about the Canon R5? What I like about the Canon is the menu systems for me seem much easier to navigate. A little thing that I noticed when using both cameras, the histogram on screen for the Canon is much bigger than the Sony, and as I've gotten better with shooting, I've noticed how big it is to have a nice histogram, because you don't want to look at that little meter on the bottom. Not really a good gauge to see if it's overexposed or underexposed. You want to look at that histogram to make sure nothing's blown out, nothing's too dark. That's hard to see on the Sony. Specs wise, I think these cameras both hold up to one another. They both shoot 8K, they both do 4K 120, obviously everything below that. But the one thing that the Sony has on the Canon is that in 4K 120 it shoots audio. Didn't need that in this video case, but if I was shooting sports, that would be something that would be really nice to have because you always need audio in sports. I just think it's cool to get, if you're shooting basketball, get the swish, get the dunk, get the emotion of somebody else. If I'm shooting 4K 120 on my Canon, it's just not possible. I need an external recorder, which as you know, slows me down, and I hate being slowed down because a lot of what I do is real-time, fast turn content. At the end of the day, every camera at this point pretty much is very, very similar. And you can pull off whatever you want as long as you double check the specs. So when we talk Canon R3, Canon R5, Sony A1, A7S III, A9, FX3, all these cameras are pretty good. Yes, some are better at video, some better at photo, but they all encapsulate the same kind of specs that you're going to need as you move on throughout your career. So if we want to talk what camera you should buy between the R5 and the Sony A1, they're pretty similar, but I say you buy Canon because I'm a Canon guy. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Really appreciate you. Goodbye.